Okay, so today's notes are on angle pairs. Our goal for today is I can find the measure of, and then there's a bunch of angle pairings. So do you know what supplementary angles are? Do you know what linear pairs are? Do you know what vertical angles are? Those are special type of angle pairs. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try the warm-up. I will give you a clue. There are 10 answers to this. There's 10 ways to name this angle. Pause, try it. Okay, so let's say the ways to name this angle. So first off, we'll start with my least favorite, which is angle C. Don't like it, but it is a possibility. Angle 1 is another one. And then now there's, there's a bunch of different ways that you can name this angle using the vertex as the middle letter, and then three total points. It would have to be one of the points on this ray and then one of the points on this ray. So let's go. We have angle ACD, angle ACE, angle BCD, angle BCE, and then all four of these backwards. So angle DCA, angle ECA, angle DCB, angle ECB. Notice C is the vertex, so it's always in the middle. Okay. Next, we have some vocab. So make sure you're listening and not just like drowning me out and saying, oh, lady, come on. So make sure you're listening to these because these are vocabulary words and you do need to know what they mean. You need to be able to identify these. So the first one are adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are angles which share a common ray. Those are the angles that are said to be adjacent to each other. So for example here, angle HXW, this angle, is adjacent to angle WXT. So if you look right here, they share this ray right here, okay? So a lot of times when someone says adjacent angles, they'll refer to them as angles next to each other, okay? But what you have to realize is that these two angles technically are next to each other, but they're not adjacent. They don't share a side. So they have to have a side in common, okay? All right, next, the definition of supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180. Okay, so when I ask you in class a little bit later today, what does supplementary mean? I don't want to hear 180. Supplementary doesn't mean 180. Supplementary means their sum is 180. Okay, so two angles that add to 180. Okay, so here is a type of problem that you could possibly see on a test or formative. It says angle 1 is supplementary to angle 2. If the measure of angle 1 is 3x plus 5 and the measure of angle 2 is 7x minus 15, find the measure of angle 1. Okay, so the first thing I do is I look to see what information I'm given. It tells me angle 1 is supplementary to angle 2. So I always ask everyone, what's the first thing I have to do? And if you're saying draw a picture, no, you don't have to draw a picture for this, okay? You have to know what supplementary means. Supplementary means adds to 180 degrees, all right? So if angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, I know that this and this, their measures, add to 180. So that's the equation I'm going to write. I'm going to write 3x plus 5 plus 7x minus 15 is equal to 180. All right, left side. Left side I have like terms. I'm going to combine these like terms. And then I have another set of like terms. I'm going to combine these like terms. All right, so I have 10x minus 10 is equal to 180. Now I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 10x equals 190, and then finally divide by 10. So I get x equals 19. Okay, let's see if that's what they asked me to do. They say find x. No, they said find the measure of angle 1. So remember, this is angle 1 right here. And now I know what x is, so I can plug it in right here. So I'm going to say the measure of angle 1 is equal to 3 times 19 plus 5. If you would like to use a calculator to get this answer, you can. You end up getting 62 degrees. Okay? What's really important here, I'm going to say this so someone can't say, oh, I don't know. You have to show your work. Okay? You have to show me how you got x, and then you can't just write down 62. Okay? You have to show me where 62 came from. So you need this also. Okay. All right, next one, next problem here. We have angle ABC is bisected by ray BD, and angle ABD is supplementary to angle DBC. Find the measure of angle ADB. Okay, so the first thing is that people will only read this far, and they'll say, I need to draw that. So they'll draw angle ABC, and they'll say, I'm going to make it obtuse because there's more room. So here's A, here's B, here's C. And it's being bisected by BD. So I'm going to draw ray BD. Okay, what does bisected mean? Bi means two. So it's being cut into two congruent what? Two congruent segments or two congruent angles? It's an angle, so two congruent angles. Make sure you mark your two congruent angles. All right, next it tells me that angle ABD, this angle right here, is supplementary to angle DBC, this angle right here. What does supplementary mean? It means they add to 180, right? Do these two angles together look like they add to 180 right now? No. So this diagram is not going to work for me. I'm going to have to draw angle ABC as a straight angle because those two angles have to add to 180. All right, so now I'm going to go back and I still have to draw ray BD that bisects that angle. If I have to draw it bisecting, it's got to go straight up. Also, if it's bisecting it, this angle and this angle are equal. If they're equal and they add to 180, they have to be 90 apiece. So I can just put a box right there to show that it's 90. Now it says find the measure of angle ABD. ABD, this angle right here, it's 90 degrees. All right, next vocabulary word. Once again, these vocabulary words are so important to know. Okay, when you take your test, there's not going to be, oh, here, just do this algebra. There's going to be words. For example, it'll say angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. Okay, think about the words that you see in there. You see the word line. Notice there's a line right here. Pair. What does pair mean? Pair means two, right? So this is two angles that form a straight line, right? So if you think about if they form a straight line, that also means that linear pairs are supplementary. I was going to write it again, but it's right there. It means they have to add to 180, right? So if I say two angles are supplementary, does it mean that it always looks like this? No. Because these two angles right here that I just drew, well, not technically, this angle I just drew and this angle I just drew, I can say this is 100, this is 80, those are supplementary, but this is not a linear pair. So keep that in mind. All linear pairs are supplementary, but not all supplementary angles are linear pairs. Okay, this one right here, solve for x. So the only thing I could possibly see someone doing wrong is setting them equal to each other, and they never told us that that's an angle bisector, and we don't have congruency marks. But we do know that this is a straight angle right here, so these two angles have to add to 180. So now I'm ready to write my equation. I'm going to write 15x minus 10 plus 8x plus 6 equals 180. Left side, combine like terms. I have 15x and 8x, which is 23x. I have negative 10 and positive 6, which is negative 4, and then equals 180. All right, time to solve for x. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 23x is equal to 184. Divide both sides by 23. Hopefully you have a calculator handy when you're doing these. 184 divided by 23 is 8. Okay, did they ask me for x? No. It says find the measure of angle NMP. NMP is this angle right here. So now I have to plug it into there. Make sure you show your work. 15 times 8 minus 10. So the measure of angle NMP is equal to 110 degrees. Okay, next. It says, consider the following diagram. Let's find all the missing angles. Okay, so problem with this problem right now is the fact that we're not in class, because this is where I hand out protractors and I have everyone measure the angles, okay? So I can't hand you a protractor right now and say measure the angles. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tell you what you would have gotten if you measured them. I know it's not as great. I wish it was the other way around. This one, you would get that this is 140 degrees. This one, you would have gotten that this is 40 degrees. And this one, you would have gotten that this is 140 degrees. What I do in class is I have you just find the first one. It's 140, right, using the protractor. And then I say, hey, look, do you see this line right here? It's straight. I know these two have to add to 180, so this is 40. And I say, okay, do you see this straight line right here? These two angles have to add to 180. This is 140. All right? So what you should notice is that this angle is congruent to this angle, and this angle is congruent to this angle. These angle pairs are called vertical angles. Okay, so if I drew another diagram right here, 1 and 2 are vertical angles, 3 and 4 are vertical angles. So if I wanted to name my vertical angles here, this angle, angle MXA, and angle TXH are vertical angles. Also, you could have done the top and bottom one. So you could have done this angle right here, angle MXT, this one down here, angle AXH are vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? So if you look at your vertical angles back here, this one is the same as this one, right? So I'm not going to say vertical angles are the same. We're going to use our geometry word. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, vertical angles are congruent. So once again, you can do this with anything. So I can say that this angle is 50 degrees. Find the other 3 angles. Well, this is its vertical angle, so that's 50 degrees. This forms a straight line. They have to add to 180, so this is 130 degrees. And this has to be the same as that one, so this is 130. Okay? Okay. So let's look at this one right here. Solve for all the angle measures given the following. So this is not labeled for you. You have to label it yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this one together as our last problem, but there's plenty for you to try in the homework. Okay? Solve for all. If you'd like to pause and try it yourself, please do so. Solve for all the angles given the following. So it says VZX. Make sure you label the correct angle. VZX. This angle is 16x minus 20. You do not need this part I'm about to erase. I just did it so you can see what angle I'm talking about. Angle YZW. YZW. This angle is 13x plus 7. Once again, I'm going to erase the tracing part because you don't need it. Okay, so let's make sure we're practicing vocab. What kind of angles are these 2 angles that are labeled? They're vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent. What does congruent mean? Equal. So I can set them equal to each other. 16x minus 20 is equal to 13x plus 7. All right, no like terms on the left side. No like terms on the right side. So I'm going to get all my x's on one side by subtracting 13x from both sides. 3x minus 20 is equal to 7. Add 20 to both sides. 3x is equal to 27. And then divide both sides by 3. X equals 9. Okay, did I ask you for x? Nope. I said find all the angle measures. So let's start with this angle right here. Can I find this angle? Yes. I just have to plug in, I forgot what I got as x, 9. So I'm going to do 13 times 9 plus 7. So that's 90 plus 27 is 117 plus 7 is 124. So this angle right here is 124 degrees. I'm going to come over here and make sure I get the same thing. 16 times 9 minus 20. That's 90, 54 minus 20. 144 minus 20 is 124, yes. 124 also. So there's one answer. There's two answers. Should get rid of this highlight here. There we go. Okay, so now I need the other two angles. So they're blank right now, but you can still get them, okay? Remember, this is a straight line, 180 degrees, so these two have to add to 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus 124, and I get 46 degrees. So this is 46 degrees, and this is 46 degrees. Now you might be saying, that doesn't look like it's 46 degrees. That looks like it's 124, and the other one looks 46. Not all the time are your diagrams to scale, just so you realize that. Okay, so once again, our goal was that you have to be able to identify supplementary angles. Do you know what supplementary means? Do you know what a linear pair looks like? Line, two angles, linear pair, right? So 1 and 2 are a linear pair. Do you know what vertical angles look like? 1, 2, those are vertical angles, okay? And then can you solve for the angles if you use algebra? All right, that's it for this lesson. Please go ahead and start the homework and turn it in by the end of the day.